Red Snaggletooth, Blue Snaggletooth. Who are they and where did they come from? This is everything you need to know about the Snaggletooths. Welcome back to the journey, and if you're joining me for the first time, I am collecting the entire Star Wars Kenner line, starting from 1977 and ending at 1985. And yes, we were crazy enough to start from scratch. So if you need to go back and catch up on those episodes, please do. If you're just getting into the vintage Star Wars Kenner line, the Blue Snaggletooth won't be a figure that pops up on your radar right away. Well, at first. And when I began this run, the first time I was introduced to that figure was when I saw it for sale on a vintage Facebook group. And my first thought was, why in the heck is this figure so expensive? I knew nothing about it. I didn't know the history, the origin, or why it was never included on a card back. Was it even a real character? And was it something that I needed to collect? Well, in this episode, put on your silver space boots because today we're going over the entire history of that figure. So let's go. We have to go all the way back to 1976 before Star Wars came out in the movie theaters. And Kenner was handling all the licensing rights to produce the Star Wars toy line for Lucasfilm Limited. For the creature toys in the Cantina, Kenner was going to produce several of these, with one being this character that was given to Kenner as a black and white photograph. And this was all they had to go off of. Not having any more details than this, the Kenner toy designers had to make a guess at the color and the height of the character. Now, why the designers over at Kenner didn't ask more questions or ask to see more production stills from Lucasfilm Limited, that's beyond me. Or maybe they did ask and never got a response. And you have to remember, there was no structured process for film characters to ever become action figures. Sure, we saw it in the Planet of the Apes and other science fiction films that had some success, like we see that on every movie nowadays, but back then, Kenner and Lucasfilm were basically figuring it all out. But Kenner went to work designing the figure just based on those photographs. They made it as tall as the regular line of figures, such as Han Solo, 3.75 inches tall. They gave the figure a blue jumpsuit, silver space boots, and a black belt with the silver logo on it. And the belt buckle logo came from the personal business card of a toy designer over at Kenner, with the similarities quite striking. And without any questions, that logo made it to the production line. But when Star Wars hit the big screen in 1977, the Kenner product team watched in horror as their Snaggletooth character was shown in the Cantina as a 3-foot tall character and wearing a red spacesuit. And at this time, not only was the Blue Snaggletooth already in production, but units had already went out to Sears in the 2 exclusive sets that were only available through the Sears Christmas Holiday Wish Book. And if you were alive as a kid in the 70s, you can remember flipping through these paper-thin phone book-like pages for items that Sears was promoting for the holiday season. And pre-internet, this was the place to go for the hot new toys coming out. And that year, Star Wars was all the buzz. Sears was already selling the Cantina Playset, where you can relive the adventures of the Mos Eisley Cantina. In this playset came Greedo, Walrus Man, Hammerhead, and the Blue Snaggletooth. It was a cheaply made cardboard playset, but the fact that you can get 4 of the aliens in this Star Wars world was enough for kids and parents to pre-order this for their kids for the awesome price of $7.88. Beyond the playset, the other way you could have gotten the Blue Snaggletooth was again only through the Sears catalog in a 2-pack of figures. One was the Blue Snaggletooth and the other was Greedo. You can buy that for less than $4 retail at that time. So back to the movie theater at the 1977 original Star Wars release. Horrified at the misdesign that they had put into distribution with pressure from Lucasfilm, the designers at Kenner went back to the drawing board. And this time they relied on the 1978 Star Wars Holiday Special to redesign the Snaggletooth. Here is the reference photo that they used. So knowing that the Cantina character from the movie was 3 feet tall, they also created new molds for the arms, now with furry hands and much shorter legs, but with furry feet and claws. Now, why Kenner opted to add furry feet and hands is really unknown, since the movie reference and the holiday special reference has them with gloves on. I guess they felt it would be an added design feature that would make them more alien and creature-like. That's just speculation, but it does make sense. The red Snaggletooth really gets sets apart with those design features for sure. So now, Kenner had to go back and replace the Cantina set with the updated red Snaggletooth and the mail-away 2-pack of the figures with the red Snaggletooth as well. And red Snaggletooth also got its designated card back in 1979 on the 20 card back. But how did Snaggletooth get to be called Snaggletooth? Just like Hammerhead, Walrusman, Squidhead, and Pruneface, these are all names that were just descriptions of how they appeared. They all have real names. And the Snaggletooth that appeared in the original Star Wars 1977 movie has a name as well. Zutton. Z-U-T-T-O-N. Zutton is a male Snivian, and the one who appeared in the holiday special is Zutmore. Z-U-T-M-O-R-E. Kenner actually confused the two once again when they placed a picture of the female Zutmore on the card back packaging for Zutton, the male of the species. And to further the confusion, Hasbro released a Zutton figure that is actually Zutmore. Confused yet? Well, it gets better. Then there's Takeel, T-A-K-E-E-L. The brother of Zutton. Both Takeel and Zutton were in the original Star Wars movie in the cantina scene. Takeel is on the far left, and the reference photo that was sent in years earlier was actually that of Takeel. So you might say that the blue Snaggletooth's name could actually be Takeel. Kenner just got the blue spacesuit wrong. But it wouldn't be until years later that Takeel would finally get his own action figure. So if you're still confused, don't worry. Both Kenner and Hasbro shared in all of our confusion. Here's a big question that I had with the blue Snaggletooth. What the heck is up with that toe dent? It's what I used to hear collectors talking about all the time. Does it have a dent? Does it not have a dent? I'm looking for one with a dent. What is the toe dent and what does that mean for its collectability? The indentation with a toe dent is a manufacturing error in the mold. When Kenner sends off the molds and the prototypes to the factories, there are sometimes imperfections in the case molds. Sometimes an imperfection happens without a quality control check, or sometimes the quality control passes off the error without checking the prototypes carefully. Or sometimes the error is passed off because it would either slow down or cost too much to fix. In either case, at some point the error was fixed because you either got versions with a dent or some without a dent. In this case, the figure with a dent in the toe will fetch higher dollar prices. Well, why is that? Well, it's because of the perceived factory error and perceived rarity in the line. It's just like a carded figure who gets named wrong in the first production run, then gets fixed. There may have been millions of them made, but they are still in error that's highly collectible and highly sought after. So here's the only ways that you can get the blue Snaggletooth. If you buy it loose, you get it in the dent or no toe dent variety. And it comes with the Rebel Blaster. And in the current market, prices for these on Star Wars Tracker, for the loose no dent version, prices are averaging about $400 with highs at close to $600. For the toe dent version, a loose figure is running at an average of close to $600 with the highs at $900. And if it's in a baggie, and this is what it would have looked like after you took it out of the 2-pack Sears catalog offering with Greedo, the most recent sales data that I could find was for $1,500 to $1,900 at auctions for non-graded items. But just be aware that these baggies are so highly foraged that if you're looking to buy a blue Snaggletooth inside a baggie, just make sure that you know your baggies and what to look for. And I'm gonna go in depth about baggies on another episode, but the best site that I can offer on baggies and what to look for is StarWarsForum.uk. They have a bunch of detailed information on every baggie type that Kenner ever made and what to look for on each release. So start there and enter the rabbit hole. You are welcome. But if you want to get really high roller and invest in a Snaggletooth that's really OG, then you're going to want to pick them up in these next two ways. With the original Kenner mail-away box with Greedo that only came from Sears. Now, you can pick up the box unsealed, and that will cost you an estimated $3,000 to $4,000 depending on condition. But again, watch out for forgeries on the bags and the boxes. And to get a sealed version, which is extremely rare, just be prepared to spend anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000, depending on what type of condition it's in, if it's graded or not, and always if it's sealed. And the ultimate granddaddy of them all, and some people's holy grails, you can buy the box Cantina set complete with all 4 original aliens, which only had 4 data points, from $6,000 to $10,000, and that's for an unsealed box. And for a mint in sealed box, well, I couldn't find any data points, hardly any past data points, and no one that's selling a mint in sealed box right now. So maybe what we're looking at just isn't a grail, but it's a holy grail. And if there's a lost Sears warehouse out there with a box full of these, somebody is gonna hit the jackpot. And if you're out there viewing this right now and you have a mint in sealed box Cantina set, congratulations to you, and let me know in the comments how much that cost you, or if you've had that for a number of years. And here's what I love. I love going on researching hunts on the Kenner figures that I love, and this one was no exception. Not only is it fun for me to answer questions that I have, but it makes me more informed and closer to that toy line that I do love. And just a reminder, if you're enjoying this video, please hit that like button, and also please consider subscribing so you can see more Star Wars content from me. But about the blue Snaggletooth, am I done? Not even close, there's more. And we still have to go on the hunt for one. So if you watched my past episode where I got my graded blue Snaggletooth with the toe dent, I did get a very nice graded toe dent version of the Snaggletooth, and I picked that up for $725, graded by AFA at an 80. And the things you have to look out for when collecting a blue Snaggletooth is, number 1, the quality of the figure, and most notably is the paint wear. Now there's the usual paint loss on the hands, hair, facial features that you want to account for in a near mint example, but there's also the belt buckle logo to account for, just to make sure there's no rub on that logo. But this figure tends to fade at the torso, and this is a very important feature because that typically means that this figure is degrading. Well, and you're saying, yeah, Joey, that's usually what a degrade means. Everything fades, right? Well, with this figure, when it starts to turn a weird greenish color at the torso, that typically means, especially with this figure, that at any moment, this sucker is gonna start cracking like a cookie. And I've seen plenty examples online of collectors posting pictures of them waking up to find their blue Snaggletooth laying on their shelves in pieces without even being touched. This figure will degrade. And if you watch my past episodes on how to take care of your figures, if you like to place your figures in sunlight or rooms where the temperature fluctuates from hot to cold rapidly, and even by 10 to 20 degrees, it will cause your figures to expand and contract. That won't only cause the tightest of figures to become loose over time, but it also means the plastic on the inside is expanding and contracting. And the more brittle figures, like the blue Snaggletooth, will crack from the inside under those temperature conditions. So what's the ideal temperature? Well, some say between 77 degrees or 25 Celsius at the most hot, and 65 degrees or 18 Celsius at the coolest. Now, I do follow this and try not to keep any of my collectibles exposed to anything else. And the less humid, the better. Humidity will kill action figures and boxed items. They will warp, yellow, fade, and degrade a lot quicker. And another thing to look out for on this figure is the Rebel Blaster. The Snaggletooth was released only with the blue-black Rebel Blaster, and I have known grading companies like AFA to reject the figure if it's sent to them with the solid black blaster or the blue blasters that typically come with other figures. So if you're a stickler for authenticity or are wanting to send in a blue Snaggletooth for a grade or even buy graded, there's that to look out for. So like I said, since we already have a graded toe dent variant of the blue Snaggletooth, today we're on the hunt for the non-dent blue Snaggletooth, and we're looking for a very nice non-graded version. Just loose. And right now on the Star Wars tracker, prices on these range from the $400 to $600 range. And remember, these are all past eBay sales. And guys and gals, we went on a long hunt for this blue Snaggletooth. I mean, not just for this episode, but I've been searching for months and months to find the right one. I had to hunt and wait. And I really tried to be selective and not to spend too much. And since this is for my display case, I'm not looking for the best of the best example, but I don't want to spend a lot of money buying from a collector who's overpricing the figure just because it's called a blue Snaggletooth. I want to get a great price for the quality that I want to allow inside that case. So these are just some of the pictures that I passed up on because the price was too high and I didn't want it that great for top dollar, or it was top dollar and the seller was having delusions of grandeur that the figure was worth that much. But we did find one, and we found one at the bottom of the market price for the quality that I considered worth that dollar amount. So let's take a look. I would be lying if I didn't say that I'm nervous about opening this box right now. I'm genuinely nervous. Here we go. Oh my God, this is the first time that I'm actually holding one of these. It is a blue Snaggletooth. Look how shiny and clean that thing looks. The boots are nice and silvery. Let's look at the back. It's a repro. I'm just kidding, it's not a repro. I would be crapping bricks right now if it was a repro. Look at that cute little guy right there. Look at his pearly little whites. Oh my God, I'm so excited right now. There's like a little bit of a mark on his hands. That's the only thing that really looks bad to me on him. The torso is a little bit discolored. The limbs are super tight. I mean, they don't even move. This is a great, great example of a blue Snaggletooth. He can go moonwalking all day. Look at that head of hair. He's got the lettuce of a king. This guy is on the cover of Snaggletooth GQ magazine. Now, this was one of the most in-depth research that I've gone on one figure, both going on the hunt and putting together the historical timeline for that figure. But it's like I said, by doing that and doing the research on the history, it gives me a big appreciation for finally collecting that figure. And it's so much better when you know the historical significance of anything inside your collection. So let's place this figure finally in our display case from Collector Displays, and a link to buy your case is in the descriptions below. And let's cross off this figure from our checklist. And this is a figure that we bought off a seller on the Imperial Commissary on Facebook, and we got this for the very respectable price of $425. So thank you for going on that history lesson and the hunt for my blue Snaggletooth. And we will soon place Zutton and Zutmore together in that case. And there's also one more fact. You can buy these in a reproduction form from Smith Lord Creations for a fraction of the price. So if the authentic Kenner version is never gonna be in your price range, you can still search Smith Lord Creations on the internet to fill your collection in that way. But since I'm doing the authentic run, that's an option that really doesn't appeal to me, but I understand it's how a lot of collectors are gonna fulfill their collection by collecting reproduction items. But for me, there's nothing better than the real thing. So if you found this video interesting, please hit that like button. It does support the channel. And down in my descriptions are items that you may need for your own collecting journey. And when you click and buy using those links, it does support the channel, so thank you for that. Also, you can follow me on social media. All my links are on the homepage of my YouTube channel. And if you want to see more Star Wars collecting content from me, please hit that subscribe button and also that notification bell so you can know when videos go live. I post videos every Wednesday and Saturday. And as always, my friends, thank you, and I will see you next time.
If you're new to the channel, check out the welcome video, or just check out the next episode. And please subscribe if you want to follow the journey. And remember, there is no shame in being a Padawan.